I think it's finally happened. I think we finally have found a webcam that can rival, to some degree, mirrorless cameras and DSLRs. Kind of. What you're seeing me through right now is the Yolocam S3. This is a 4K 30 webcam. Obviously, you could do resolutions below that, and it also has AI tracking features like a lot of other cameras are coming out with nowadays too. There's no gimbal on this one though, so it's one of those punch in and then move around the frame sorts of tracking that it does. But I think that it's using AI to do a little bit more than just AI tracking and things like that. With that said, it automatically makes itself one of the biggest censored webcams out there, with its sensor coming in at 1/1.3 inches. It's 0.3 inches off of being a 1/1, which is just 1. That'd be a 1-inch sensor, which is something that it's still smaller than micro four thirds cameras like Panasonic's G7 and G85 and other ones like that are considered real mirrorless cameras. But it starts to enter a market where there are cameras that were made back in the day by brands like Nikon that were 1-inch censored mirrorless cameras. So we're getting there. And the part that stands out the most to me is this right here. You can see a little bit of background blur. This is not fake background blur happening behind me. This is the most impressive part of this camera to me, is that it can pull off a little bit of the mirrorless DSLR camera look that you would get with some more expensive lenses on those cameras, altogether, all by itself, right out of the box. Like this background blur, again, not fake. And this is why I say that, why I said in the intro that this can sort of compete with mirrorless or DSLR cameras, because we're getting 4K, we're getting good sharpness, it's got autofocus, and we got a little bit of background blur. That's a lot of the check boxes that people look for when they want a really good quality camera or webcam. Speaking of the autofocus though, let's check it out. So we're gonna hold that up, snaps to it pretty quickly, and then we're gonna come back down. I set it to face tracking autofocus, but it is clearly struggling a little bit more, but it did get me after hunting a little bit. After Yololiv offered to send me this to check this out for a little mini review video, they asked me to update the firmware on it. I think that they're still working on the quality of the autofocus, but I think it does okay. As I was setting it up, I was seeing that it kind of hunts a little bit and maybe looks around a little bit, but for the most part, it seems to work pretty good. And if you have a problem with it, just set it to manual, pick your spot and go. I'm not the biggest fan of that though. I want good autofocus. I would consider this in good section because look, at that time it worked a bit better. And so I think it's good enough. It does come with a stand that you can mount it on top of your laptops or your monitors or stuff like that. It's a magnetic stand too, so the case of the webcam itself is all metal, which is actually really high quality feeling. It's a really good build quality for a webcam, and you can just magnet it right onto the mount. It's got a bit of flexibility when it comes to how you want to mount it. Lifts up on the top, adjusts from the bottom. You can mount it to a tripod from there if you wanted to as well, and it has a little indicator light to know when it's active. Right now I have the camera literally arm's reach from me, just past my arm actually, but like there it is, and you can see with the indicator light and everything how I'm using it right now. I need to ask you something. Are you subscribed to our YouTube channel? Because if you're not, hit that subscribe button, and also follow over on Twitch. Links are right over here. All right, I'm out of here. I don't like it over there. Now I do this every time, and I'm not really comparing this to my Sony A50-100 plus $400 Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens combo, because it's not a fair comparison, but this is how my configuration normally looks, and I use it in pretty much all my videos lately. So this is a real mirrorless camera, not a DSLR, but it's expensive configuration, like around $700. So does it look good? Sure, I think so. But if we just focused on how the Yolocam looks like, and this is what you saw pop up of somebody talking tech to you on YouTube or on TikTok or on Instagram or on any platform out there, I think you'd be pretty happy with the quality, and I think you might be hard pressed to guess that it's just a webcam. It's a good look, and dare I say, it might be one of the best looking ones that I've seen so far. And we just checked out other webcams from like Razer and obsbot and Insta360 and all sorts of stuff like that. It's all over the channel, and they all look great nowadays, except the Razer V2X. That one, not so much. But I think this one has a little bit of an edge because this does something that none of those was able to do. A little bit of background blur without faking it. Yes, I'm repeating myself. Now they do make a software that you can download to further adjust the camera and do all sorts of stuff with getting it to look better. I've made a few adjustments. I'm down here now in the corner, like in a little box, and something you'd see a Twitch streamer or YouTube streamer or whatever streamer configure this in, and you would be, again, hard pressed to guess that this is just a webcam or it's just some cheapo webcam or something like that. In a smaller box, this looks even better. But let's go over the software real quick. Yeah, you have different graphic settings, and this is more just how it shows in the preview. If you click this box and you're not already using the webcam in like OBS or something like that, it would show on the side, but we can move on from that one. You have image settings, and you have different image presets that you can set. But in here, you can adjust sharpness, you can adjust contrast, saturation. I believe this one is only supported in manual exposure. So this is dynamic range is what DR usually stands for. So you can see it adjusting in real time right now. So it was at about 50, and I like the way that it looked there. But you can adjust dynamic range a little bit there, which I like because it's a kind of an exposure adjustment. Like, I kind of like how it looks a little lighter like that. Now, there we go. And you saw it live just like that with some adjustments. On focus, you can control what type of focus. I usually just put it on face when it comes to webcams. That's what you're using it for. It's a face cam, so put it on face autofocus. And I already showed you guys earlier that even if it's on face autofocus and you put an object in front of you, it will focus on it. That's where I'm going to leave it at. We have zoom we can control. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the AI stuff that I mentioned earlier with the zoom, but it even works right here, and it tells you the equivalent of millimeter of camera that it's kind of using. And you can set up hotkeys for different zoom. Okay, right there. You'd click settings and you can set hotkeys and have different zoom functionality there, or you can do it in OBS or whatever other tricks you'd want. Now, AI parameter, this requires a login. If you want to do more advanced features with this one that utilize the AI functionality of it, you have to log in. If I click start, it brings up a login thing right there, as you can see. I'm not going to do that right now. And then I've set exposure to manual, and this is cool. You can adjust ISO and shutter speed just like a real camera. So that's nice. I've gone ahead and already set it up for my configuration. And you can even manually set white balance, or you can set it to auto. And then within it, you can adjust white balance temperature, whatever this one is. I'm not sure. It's at 52 right now. Let's play with it real quick. I believe that's tint or hue. So we'll put that back to 52. Blue offset, red offset, all controllable right there. And that's your settings. You can also go over here to color. And in a different way, you can also color correct the camera. Here it will take a picture on the right, and then you can use that as your source for color correction. And then we go to scene, and you can play around with different scenes right here. I just clicked standard scene, and did it reset things? It did reset things. So now we're gonna go here and look at that. Yeah, I had it reset everything. So you can save a specific scene, and that will be a preset essentially of how the camera looks with your settings. I'm gonna go ahead and fix my settings again. Okay, I got my settings all set back the way that I liked it. There were some settings that I was playing with as well. I really wanted to make sure I could mess with exposure and frame rate, because at 30 FPS, the motion blur looked a little weird to me, but looks like that sort of straightened itself out. So that's good. Something I wanted to talk about with the whole AI functionality of this and what it does, maybe it might be doing stuff in the camera. Like I noticed when I zoomed in, if I zoomed in, I noticed, sorry if for the super close-up, but I feel like it was doing weird stuff to my face, right? Like I don't know if you guys see what I'm seeing here. There's some like warping going on or something. So I don't know what that is. When I'm all the way zoomed out, I don't notice it at all. It's only when I zoom it in its software. Yeah, that's all I can say about that. It's maybe using some onboard AI functionality to improve its image quality. Maybe that's what's happening, and I'm just seeing this interpolation of stuff as I do that because I have facial hair and stuff like that. But it's not that noticeable in a traditional setting like this, zoomed out or something like that. So one more thing that I wanted to mention here, that there are other webcams out there that don't even have this feature, is in video format of it in OBS. We have NV12, MJPEG, and H.264. NV12 is usually considered the balanced one that gives you more information to color correct and all that without being too laggy or harder on your system. MJPEG is the easy one. It's a little bit more inflexible. And then there's H.264, which is closer to raw or uncompressed, as some brands might call it. But it could be harder on your system, use more CPU or hardware acceleration to run itself. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it on NV12. I think the fact that we can select that, we have NV12 and H.264 as options for the format of this camera that feeds through the USB, I think that's good. Now, for the sake of playing around, let's turn the light on, add more light to the room. I'm going to move around the scene a little bit, and you guys can see how it tracks me, and it looks with a slightly different look than just a guy sitting in front of webcam. This is such a sharp look. This looks really good. And it remains impressive. And while the high quality webcam market has been seeing prices come down, this webcam comes in at $199. And if you were somebody that wanted, let's call it ultimate quality from a webcam, and you didn't need that gimbal functionality that other brands have and stuff like that, then at $199, this can still be a compelling option. While other brands have cameras at $100, $129, $150, $180, this one sits at the top of all of those. And I would say it's still competitive at that price, but I would say that's the limit though. It would be cool if sales and stuff kept the price on this one down a little bit, closer to probably 160, 170-ish price range, especially because it needs a little bit more brand recognition. And being a brand that you don't really know sitting at the top of the price heap versus a bunch of brands that are far more well-known, it could be a little bit of a disadvantage, but I guess we'll see. Personally, I think this is one of the best webcams that I've ever checked out on this channel. And while it looks like the autofocus could use a little bit of work still, for the most part, it works well enough. And what you get from this webcam is just impressive to me. I think it's really nice. I would have killed for a webcam like this way back in the day. But the autofocus hunting, when I look away from it and stuff like that, can be a little bit off-putting to me. I'm a little sensitive to that. Hopefully they can work on it for more updates. Yeah, if you like this video, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and that bell so you don't miss a single upload. Also, I stream to Twitch every Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/CoalitionChris. So if you want to come by, talk webcams, talk tech, or anything like that, feel free to stop by, drop a follow, and let's talk tech or streaming or gaming or any of that stuff. Anyways, that does it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Drop your comments down below. Let me know what you think of this webcam. Yeah? Bye.